Happy Friday. Um, Today I'm going to guide you through a kind of yin restorative practice. And I think it's an appreciation of solitude. And also to try to connect to the body. I think we spend at this time a lot of time just with our thoughts. And so let's kind of come down and come in. For me personally, this last few weeks, I've been doing and cultivating more of a qigong practice. So more of this practice to understand the subtle body. So to begin, I think we're going to start in standing, and then we're going to come down to the mat, and we'll come into some stillness after that. So if you have your mat opened up, you can leave it. I'll give you lots of variations that you can try as we go on, and I hope you enjoy. So at this time, let's come up to standing. And, whatever is comfortable with your feet, hips width apart, wider, closer. I leave that up to you, but I'll ask that you close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, you just bring some insight to the feedback of your body in this standing pose. To the connection of your feet and the earth, and to this lifting of your head in the sky. And this posture kind of reminds me that, as humans, our understanding of things can be limited. We have these dimensions below and these dimensions above, but as humans, we're just on this middle ground, this middle plane. So let's just take a couple more breath cycles here in Tadasana, in our mountain pose. And because quite naturally, as the mind can agitate, the body can agitate and tense. A nice exercise is just to shake it out. So kind of just think of your arms as these loose spaghetti noodles and bounce your knees and just shake it. And just keep going, faster or slower, the pace that you need and the pace that feels right at this time. Start to slow that shaking down, so the movement just kind of comes to the end of your fingers, and let it settle. Let it settle completely. And then with me, take a few breaths in through the nose, and then sigh it audibly out through the mouth. Try it a second time, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. And one more time here, in through the nose, and then out through the mouth. Now your choice if you open the eyes or if you keep the eyes closed, but we're gonna start to swing the body just around. So we're knocking on the lower back with our hands. Essentially, we're knocking on the kidneys. And you're just gonna be free a couple more times, just side to side. And the speed of your movement can increase or decrease based on whatever feels right. Just a couple more. Good. And then swing on back to center, shoulders over hips. Arms are coming above to interlace the fingers behind your head. Now open your elbows wide so you feel the shoulder blades are hugging in towards your spine. And we're going to tuck the chin in towards the heart to bring the shoulders around the ears, flexing through the spine. And then inhale, open the elbows, lift the chin, and lean back just a little bit. A couple more times. So exhale, curl in. And then inhale, elbows wide, heart forwards, chin to the sky. Let's do two more. Exhale. And inhale. Good, and last one. Exhale. And inhale. Come on back to that tucked position. So go ahead and bring your chin to your heart, bring your elbows around your head, and then continue on down your spine, vertebra by vertebra. So from your upper back to your middle back, and then your middle back to your lower back. Now just let the weight of your head hang heavy. And here we have our hands interlaced behind our head. So our thumbs can come to the base of the neck and just give the neck a bit of a massage with the thumbs. In Chinese medicine, we have these points, we call them our ashi points, these oh yes points that let you know they're there. So if you find an oh yes point, just stick with it and breathe into it. We'll be here for a little bit more time. Any sort of movement goes with the torso side to side. Beautiful. And at this point, I'm just going to ask that you free your hands from your head, tips of the fingers to the earth. And it's your transition to come to a seated position. So I'm going to bring my toes out and my heels in. You could too. Sit bones to the ground, one hand in front and the other hand behind. So here we are now in seated. Good. So Kyle's just given me the thumbs up. He's going to change the angle of the camera. For this next little bit, after we come into our seated meditation, we're going to use a wall space. So if you'd like that time as I kind of talk you through, go ahead, and we'll get to that in just a little bit of time. So movement, I think movement can be this funnel that helps us drop into this moment. And the purpose of our first bit of class was to just shake the layers, shed the layers, so that at this time, as we come to seated, we can find a little bit more comfort in stillness, find a little bit more comfort in solitude. And once you're in seated, I encourage you to just stack your shoulders over your hips and your head over your heart and your heart over your pelvis. So we have this beautiful stacked position for the main channel of the body. And because at this time I feel I'm using my pranayama, I'm using my breath control a little bit more, I'm going to guide you through our breath of transition today. And so our breath of transition today in yoga is known as the 3-part breath. It's really simple. You're going to play with 3 inhales, and then on the exhale, that audible sigh. So up to you if you bring your hands to your lower belly or if you bring your hands to your knees. But let's start our first practice with our 3-part breath. So as you inhale, belly into hands, hold the breath. Now inhale again, breathe into the side body, hold the breath. Inhale, hold again, breath is high into your chest. And now exhale, let it go, that audible sigh. So a second time, inhale, fill your belly. Inhale, fill your side body. Inhale, fill your chest. And then exhale, let it go, that audible sigh. And let's do this one more time. So inhale, fill your belly. Inhale, fill your lungs. Inhale, fill your chest. Beautiful. And then exhale, let it go. So now we've done a little bit of movement. We've introduced our breath of transition. And from here, we're going to come into our yin restorative practice. So our very first pose is going to be lying with legs up the wall. To get into legs up the wall, you're going to kind of come to the side. So your knees are bent. And so your hip is as close to the wall as is comfortable to you. And then you're going to come to your forearms like so that you can swing the legs around and come to lie on the back line of your body. So space is important. Temperature is important. Feel free to drape a blanket up and over. And then the guideline for this pose is for your legs to be as close to 90 degrees as possible, but what's most important is that you listen to the feedback of your body. So if you need to move your sit bones further away, go ahead. If you need to bring a gentle bend into your knees, go ahead. I will say that we'll be here for some time. So in just a little while, I'm going to assume that you're in this position, that you know where we're at. We have ankles over knees and knees over hips. Arms are intuitive, whether they're on your body, beside your body, or away from your body. I leave that up to you. If you're watching this screen in a few more breaths, you'll see that I'm going to come up and out of this pose, but please stay in this pose. Your legs up the wall. So here I go. I'm going to come out of this pose. Again, you stay in this pose. And then today, we're going to use our breath of transition to settle into the pose. So we know in yin yoga, just as we know in life, when we move in a way that is not thoughtful, that also means that the mind too can move on us. So at this time, let's do our breath of transition 3 times together. So fill the belly, fill the lungs, fill the chest, and exhale, let it go. A second time, please. Fill the belly, fill the lungs, fill the chest, and exhale, let it go. A third time, please. Fill the belly, fill the lungs, fill the chest, and exhale, let it go. Now, as you come into this valley of the exhale, your next inhale breath might feel a little bit deeper, a little bit slower, a little bit fuller. And I'm just going to ask that you start to ride the wave of the equanimity of your in-breath and your out-breath. So why not take this time to truly just listen to the way that you're breathing? And then deepen it yet to experience how your breath is feeling in your body. Even the temperature, cooler breath as you breathe in and warmer breath as you breathe out. Now, therapeutically, what we're doing with legs up the wall is we're starting to drain some of this stagnant blood from the legs to the pelvis, from the pelvis to the heart. And for many people, that can be quite grounding and quite calming. So we're using the earth element to drop down and to drop in. And we're using this notion of sensation being the feedback of the now to be in this one experience, in this one time, in this one space. Deep inhales and deep exhales. We have about 10 more breath cycles. Legs up the wall, 90 degrees. Heels over knees and knees over hips. So at this time, stay where you are, legs up the wall. I'm going to meet you there. So I'm coming back into the pose, legs up the wall. And I'm just going to ask when intuitively it feels right for you to bring some sort of movement into your body, you do so. So please start with, say, your toes or your fingers. Or maybe even the simplicity of just shifting your jaw a few times side to side. Beautiful. So from this movement, we're going to start to bend into the knees and bring the soles of the feet into the wall. You're going to use your shoulder blades as like this spring caterpillar, let's say, crawling back. So you're giving yourself some space to glide on back. And then once you have enough space, shift on over to one side. So this safe side-lying position. And let's just pause. Let's come into this pose like it is a posture all in itself, because it is. This posture can increase the blood flow back to the heart. The S shape of your spine, from your lower back to your middle back and your middle back to your upper back as you inhale. And then as you exhale, just bring your inner mind's eye down the front line of your body. And try this one more time. So breathe from the back line of your body, from the base of the pelvis to the top of the head as you inhale. And then top of head to base of pelvis as you exhale. At a pace that's comfortable to you, with as much support as you need, anchor your top hand into the ground and start to rise up through your spine. So now we're coming into seated, and you can go ahead and move away from the wall. Our next yin pose is butterfly or Baddha Konasana. So let's go ahead and please bring the soles of your feet together. Now, what is different in yin than yang is we have quite a bit more distance from our feet and our pelvis in yin. So create a diamond as wide or as close as you need. Some, if you have it available at home, you could use a few blocks and bring them to your feet or a pillow. If you don't, that's okay. We're going to inhale and stay upright through the spine. So again, head over heart and heart over pelvis. And then on the exhale, take it really slow and just lead with the heart to forward fold. Now, a couple times we're going to ripple up through the spine. So now it's the back of the heart that leads. Tuck the chin into the chest and return back to your upright position. And then exhale, ripple forward. Heart is leading, head is following. A second time, back of the heart, shadow side of the heart comes into play as you shift back. Tuck the chin, concave your chest. And then roll your head back up. Let's do this one more time, this flowing variation. Exhale. Good. And then inhale. Now, this time we're preparing for a deeper, longer, slower hold. So as you exhale, hinge, take your time to get there. There'll come a point where maybe you double stack the fists, or a reminder you can use a blanket, or you can use blocks, or you can use pillows to bring the ground up to you. I'm using my fists. I could also bring my hands underneath my shins. So the back of the hands touch the ground, and so the palm of the hands face up. And I'm just going to pause. I'm just going to stay in this variation of Baddha Konasana for a little bit of time. Now, any yin practice has 3 main guidelines. And those 3 guidelines, those 3 tattvas are quite simple. The first guideline is to approach each of these postures at a depth that is just enough. So it's not too much, it's not too little. What you feel is just right. The yin teacher, Bernie Clark, says this is the Goldilocks rule. It's just enough. The second principle is the amount of time that we hold these postures for. And in yin, that time is anywhere from kind of 3 minutes to 20 minutes, based on our intention, based on our target tissue. So I'm letting you know this, so you're giving yourself the opportunity to give yourself more support, because you have the time for that. From depth, from time, comes stillness. And it's the stillness that is the maturity of the practice. So it's the stillness that can be challenging, because we're used to movement and we're used to stimulus. So settle in, drop in. And then I invite you to take that breath of transition. So fill your belly, fill your lungs, fill your chest, and exhale, let it go. A second time, fill your belly, fill your lungs, fill your chest, and then let it go. A third time, fill your belly, fill your lungs, fill your chest, and then let it go. So as you allow the posture to unfold, as you essentially allow the posture to come to you, I'm just going to leave you in silence for 10 cycles of breath. And remind yourself that you're right where you need to be right now. Begin to just take this opportunity to scan the heaviness through your sit bones and the feedback through the outer hips. From the feedback of the outer hips, move the inner mind's eye or the curious eye up your spine to the shadow side of the heart, the space between the shoulder blades. And then use that space to wrap around your upper back, to wrap around the top of your head. And for the next little bit of time, to tuck the chin in gently to the front line of the throat, to the thyroid and to the parathyroid gland here. And as you do so, you're keeping your body as still, as steady, and also as soft as you can be. I'll bring you back in a few more rounds of breath. I think of this pose kind of like this turtle coming into their shell. The security of the shell, the security of the back line of the body here. And we're going to ripple the spine nice and slow up to seated. So tuck the chin in even more. Use your hands for some support to walk the hands in towards the pelvis. So in time, your middle back stacks over your lower back, and your lower back stacks over your upper back, or upper back stacks over your middle back, head over heart and heart over pelvis. And because we've been in this pose, we call it the rebound effect, when we feel the fluid body start to rush back to our limbs. So let's use our hands on the outside of the knees. I'm going to turn away. Knees are bent. Bring your hands behind you. And then start to windshield wiper your knees side to side, like so. Just flushing the hips out. Good. So because in our forward fold, we kind of focused on the back line of the body, now we're going to focus on the front line of the body. If you have a second mat handy, you're going to use it. If not, you're going to come off of your mat and roll it up just like so. So you have a colander or a bolster, a mini bolster, let's say, with your mat. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time. If you're on your mat, come off of it. Pillows would also work. You can stack your pillows instead. But we're going to bring the mat or a prop across. So it's running horizontally across your mat. And then once you're all set up, you're going to bend the knees, soles of the feet to the earth, starting to come to the back line of your body. So the landmark that I want you to feel is the end of your sternum. So we have this hook, and that hook is underneath the bolster. It's underneath your rolled mat or your pillow. And then once that's set, go ahead and hook your elbows behind and bring the top of your head to the ground. This theory of bringing the ground up to you, if it feels too deep, is so important. So if you feel like your throat is tensing, or if you feel like your chest is tensing at all to hold this pose, then please find a pillow underneath your head. We're going to begin and place our hands to the heads of the shoulders so the elbows are wide. And as you inhale, as you exhale, settle in. The movement of your belly, oh so familiar. And our breath of transition to drop into the pose. So you know what to do. Fill your belly. Fill your lungs. Fill your chest. And exhale, sigh it away. A second time, fill your belly. Fill your lungs. Fill your chest. And exhale, sigh it away. One more time, please. Breath in. Breath in. Breath in. And hold. And exhale, let it go. So to me, part of this practice of yin is learning to listen to the whispers of the body. If your body is letting you know that intuitively it would feel better to extend your legs, go ahead. Your body is letting you know that intuitively it would feel good to extend your arms, go ahead. But wherever you happen to be in this pose, there's some support for the front line of the heart. There's some support for the chest. And we're bringing the heart to its rightful place, forwards and upwards. In yoga, we talk a lot about the different layers that we have in our heart, the 3 layers of the heart. The physical heart, the heart that pumps the blood. The emotional heart, the heart that allows us to feel. And then the objective heart, the deepest layer of the heart that allows what is to be. And so at this time, be really gentle with yourself and just remind yourself that whatever you're feeling is okay. And try to just learn to trust the rhythm and the consistency of your breath. And I hope that as you settle into stillness, the breath gets a little bit longer and a little bit slower and a little bit more full. So much so that you're starting to sense the movement of your belly and the movement of your respiratory diaphragm. With that prop supporting the heart forwards and upwards, we're also able to bring the head below the heart, this inversion. And in yoga, we use inversions to ground the mind. In nature, we compare the head to clouds, our thoughts to clouds, or wind, and how on some days the clouds move really fast, just as on some days the clouds feel really heavy. And then there's those days where the sky is that beautiful bright blue and it seems completely clear. I'll bring you back in just 5 more rounds of breath, slow and even, deep and full. Your personal preference where you move your body first. Toes, fingers, ankles, wrists. Maybe this time it's that space between your eyebrows. Completely up to you. And then please take a moment to walk your feet in so your sit bones and your heel bones have less distance. Your knees are bent. And we'll come on back to that windshield wiper action side to side through the lower half of the body, through shins and through knees. So the connection of movement and breath, with the breath leading the movement. Let's just take a couple of vinyasa. Back to center. And exhale, knees to the side. And inhale back to center. Because you're going to use that to choose your side to roll back onto. And then come on down, so your head could be supported by your prop. Or you could remove the prop completely. But we're just going to pause for a few breaths. Returning the blood flow back to the heart, the feedback back to the heart. And then slower than you want to go, bring your top hand into the ground, extend the leg, press your way up to seated. Now, I'm sorry to do this, but we're only in seated so that we can come back to the ground on our mat. So I'm going to do this facing you. Kyle's going to let me know if you can't see it. But you're essentially going to come back to your back lying position, legs are out in front. Coming down like so. And then what we're going to do is create a C shape with our body. So you're going to start to walk your feet over to one side. I'm starting on the left. So my feet are walking to the left. Then I cross my right ankle up and over my left leg. Hands behind your head. And then you're going to cinch your body over to the same side as your feet. So in yoga, we call this banana asana, for a lack of better terms, but I like it. I think it's playful. So with our feet to the left side, with our head to the left side, we're able to create more space into the right sideline of the body. So the space from your right hip to your right armpit, the space of the intercostals, and to the meridian of the gallbladder. The second longest meridian that we have in our body. In Taoist philosophy and 5-element theory, the gallbladder meridian is connected to the element of wood. To expansion, to growth, upwards and outwards. And its role emotionally is to cast judgment. To be the judge of our decisions. And I think a big part of yin yoga is to make the decision to stay still and to drop down and in. Even though there could be something else that is requesting your attention. We've been here for some time, and my apologies for not cueing this earlier, but let's come into our breath of transition. Please fill your belly. Please fill your lungs. Please fill your chest and hold, and exhale, let it go. A second time, fill your belly. Fill your lungs. Fill your chest. And exhale, let it go. Our third time, fill your belly. Fill your lungs. Fill your chest. And exhale, let it go. Now for the next little bit of time, call upon what feels most heavy in your body. Call upon your bottom heel. Call upon the base of your pelvis, the base of your spine. Call upon your shoulder blades and the back of your head, on your hands or in your hands or on the ground. And can those points of heaviness just feel even heavier with each and every exhale? And it's completely your call if you're exhaling out through the nose or out through the mouth. Please take 3 more breaths here. And then to come out of this pose, we're going to start with the head. So you're going to lift the head. So the head is coming off the ground. You're lifting the shoulders to come back to center. This is a long line with your spine. And then adjust your feet. So uncross your right leg from your left leg. Good. Stay at center for a little bit of time. And then you're going to reverse, walking your feet over to the right side. To cross your left leg up and over your right leg. Then lift the head, lift the shoulders, and start to cinch the body over to the right side. Now some space into the left side. The left side body from the crease of your left hip all the way up to the crease of your left armpit. And what if we just started to imagine the body, how it has this ability to expand on its own away from center on the in-breath. And that reassuring ability to hug into the midline, to hug into center on the out-breath. As the skin hugs into the muscles, and as the muscles hug into the bones. And it's here at center, it's here in steadiness that I like to think we can make these deposits into ourself. Because we're really good at giving and we're really good at doing. But at this time, it's about you. The feedback of you and the uniqueness of you as you breathe. And like we did on our first side, call upon what feels most heavy in this pose. And let that be your anchor down. Let that be your anchor in. that 3-part breath if you choose to do so, to fill your belly, to fill your lungs, to fill your chest. And exhale, release. A second time, belly, lungs, chest, and exhale, release. And one more time, please. Inhale, 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 and exhale, let it go. The dance between the cycles of breath. Just as there can be a bit of a dance between the cycles of the thoughts. And we're not here at this time to judge in any way. We're here to simply observe. 3 more cycles, please. So I'll ask nice and slow at your own time. You start to approach center. Again, we're going to start with the head. Good, land the shoulders. Then adjust your feet. And I'm going to turn to face away, but you can still stay in this direction. So we're going to walk the feet in like so. And today we're going to end our practice with a twist. So with the knees bent, pick up your left knee and hug it in towards your chest like so. And then cross your left knee over your right knee. And some of you, by all means, could hook the ankle or just stay as you are. And then as you exhale, shift your knees over to the right side. If this feels too deep of a twist, bring your pillow or pillows underneath your knees. And then right hand perhaps to the outside of your left knee. Gaze perhaps to the end points of your left fingers, whether the eyes are closed or whether the eyes are open. I leave that up to you. But a twist is a really nice way to integrate the 2 sides of the brain and the 2 sides of the body. And I think if yoga was to teach us something, it is, it can teach us many things. But it is how we are more connected. How our brain really likes to divide, but how our heart really likes to connect. Once you're settled in this twist, I'll cue that breath of transition. Breath in through the belly. Breath in through the lungs. Breath in through the chest. And exhale, let it go. A second time, breath in. Breath in. Breath in and hold. And exhale, let it go. Good. One more time, please. Breath in. Breath in. Breath in and hold. And exhale, let it go. So if there's a place along the way in this twist that feels grippy or tense, Can you bring the inner mind's eye to that area? Can you bring your breath to that area? With the subtle body, we have this theory that where the inner mind's eye can go, where the breath can go, new energy can flow. And discomfort or pain is a sign of stagnation. Three breaths more, please, in your twisted roots. And then to come out of this twist, allow your gaze to lead. So you're going to bring your head back to center. And then your knees are going to follow. To uncross your left leg from your right leg. And then once you're here, hug your right knee in towards your chest. Compress the lower digestive system for this in-breath. And then right leg crosses up and over left leg. A reminder, you could hook the ankle if you care to. And then exhale nice and slow. Shift your knees to the left side. Yeah. Left hand to top right knee. Right arm could open wide. And then you settle into this twist. An opportunity to bring the ground up to you if you need to. So the roots of our shoulders are our shoulder blades. That's why we call this pose twisted roots. And so the focus, the anchor, is that heaviness in the shoulder blades. And before we're here for too long, let's come into that breath of transition. Belly, lungs, chest. And then exhale, let it go. And belly, lungs, chest. And exhale, let it go. And one more time. Belly, lungs, chest. And exhale, let it go. So all of these postures are teaching us, they're teaching us to find the serenity of ourself. The serenity that our body can give us if given the opportunity to slow down. And personally, I'm trying to have as much gratitude in the slowing down as I can. This opportunity in learning. And this opportunity in listening. Even in breaths and even out breaths. 3 more cycles, please. And a reminder to come out of this pose. Let it be your head that leads. And your knees that follow. So as you uncross your right leg from your left leg, if it suits you, hug both of your knees now in towards your chest. Any sort of movement goes. Because at your own time, I'll ask that you settle into Shavasana, you settle into a posture of consolidation. And as you settle in, I'm going to sit up. Draping a blanket over you if it's there for you. And so I think if we were to look to nature in the next few weeks, we'll see that there is growth and expansion. But before transformation, we're kind of coming into this cocoon phase. So solitude can be peaceful. It can give us this time where we can really reflect. And where we can search in the quest for the where and the how for growth and for peace and for enjoyment. The comfort of your cocoon in Shavasana. And you may find that the mind wanders, a really human experience. But learn to bring it back to something inside of you. Start to just bring the inner mind's eye now to the space of the heart. And the element of the heart is the element of fire. So it seems intuitive to use the fire element to start to just spark and stoke. Gratitude here. And let this gratitude start to just glow all throughout your body and through your being. Like even these places that maybe you didn't know were there, bring them there. And then bring it all the way to your toes and to your fingers, to the top of your head. And it's in gratitude that we move our body, fingers, toes, ankles, wrists. And it's in gratitude that we make a transition from the end of one cycle into the beginning of the next cycle. If you cared to continue to seal off the benefit of your practice, In your back lying position, you can. If you'd like to join me in seated, you can. And thank you. Thank you for joining me on my first kind of live teaching experience. I think that I have so much gratitude for this community, and even though I can't see you in person, I still feel deeply connected to you. So thank you. Enjoy your Friday evening. Bye.